into, move out of our comfortable zone, we go through these stages of learning. So it's important to understand these stages so you understand why we have those self-doubts, why we have our fears, because when we move through these stages, the first stage that immediately follows the comfort stage or the uncomfortable stage is the fear stage. So I've got a bit of a diagram here to take you through. So these are the stages that you will automatically go through. So I want you to think about that picture you just saw, okay? So we have our comfort zone, right? And our comfort zone are things that we always do, things that we feel comfortable in doing, okay? We don't feel anxiety at all because this is what we always do. So then we get an idea in our head and we go, what would happen if I actually stepped outside of my comfort zone? So I get the thought about, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try and use their name 3 times or whatever. I'm going to try something different I haven't done before. So therefore, straight after the comfort zone, we automatically go into our fear zone. Our fear zone is, well, what happens doesn't work? God, will the roof collapse on me? If I haven't got a good relationship with that person anyway, and they don't know that I'm trying different skills, because I'm not going to have a big sign up on top saying I'm trying new skills, So when we get in our fear zone, we look at perhaps things that could go wrong. We look at maybe, well, it's not really important anyway. We make excuses and we make justifications that we don't really need to get uncomfortable. We need to stay safe. So we retreat back into our comfort zone, right? But what happens is our comfort zone starts to become too painful because we're spiraling down more and more and more and more because we're motivated by pain or pleasure. So we go, you know what? I'm going to step across the fear zone and I'm going to step into the learning zone. So after the fear, so we've got to go through the fear zone first before we go to the learning zone. So in that fear zone is all our doubts and everything else as well. So we have to then cross that zone, and some of us can cross that zone very quickly. And some of us will go back and forward between comfort and fear, and then we'll cross the zone. When we cross the zone into the learning zone, when we do that, then what happens then is this is where we learn from our mistakes, we get our insights, we develop new skills, we're doing things differently. We're doing things differently than what we're doing before. Because if we don't try out new things, then we don't have any feedback to say what's working and what's not working because it's all in our mind. So the only time so if you say calling someone's name out 3 times or whatever and you haven't tried it, it's all assumption. It's all assumption. And we do that because we want to stay safe. We want to stay comfortable. We don't want to take risks because what happens if they become aggressive back to us? But they're aggressive anyway, so we really haven't got anything to lose. So when we take risk and we take control of doing things differently, then things will change. If we do exactly the same, it will stay the same forever. So once we go to that learning zone and we're learning from our mistakes, but the biggest thing in the learning zone that we have to do is take action, not think about it. This is the action. Because when we take action and we do the self-reflection, after we take the action, we can go, that went well, that didn't go so well, that went well, that didn't go so well. And then straight away we're getting feedback to tell us what's working and what's not working. So once we develop that skill, then of course we find out what's working, and what do? We use that skill. But human beings are always changing too, because then all of a sudden that skill we're using no longer works anymore. You know what I mean? So we have to then look at what other skills can we use as well. So this is by taking action and seeing the results, getting feedback, evaluating, and looking at what you can do to make it better. And then once we move from the learning zone, then we're in the success zone. So the success zone is great. You know, everyone respects you. You love going to work. You're communicating well. Everyone's communicating with you, and you've got an engaged team, and you're building a reputation of a woman who leads with confidence, poise, and calmness. But that won't happen unless you take action to actually create that. So can you see the different zones that we have to move through? And this is where the transformation goes, because when you have encouragement and you have support and you have accountability, yes, Belinda, and accountability, so true, then you will actually have someone who's going to help you and guide you through that process. And when you start to have a strong belief in yourself and the ability that, you know, you can still feel the signs of nervousness or the signs of anxiety, but you push through that and you go, that's because I'm out of my comfort zone. That's because I'm reframing it. It's because I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm developing as a leader. And that's exciting. So when you feel nervous and do something that's nervous and you break through it, what a sense of achievement that you feel afterwards. And it doesn't matter if Mike agrees with you or not. Just you taking those steps, and standing up gives you that sense of, I walk back and I think, gosh, I did it. And you do your happy dance. I did it. And you get excited. Because there's nothing worse than a leader who's very, middle of the road, who doesn't rock the boat, doesn't do anything. They just sit there and they hide because they don't want to rock the boat or upset someone else.